There's still many of you coming in, so we're just going to give them a little bit of time, to settle down. And today I'm very excited because there's so much of the market updates, especially the latest cooling measures, that I want to make sure that every one of you get the information, get the knowledge, as well as the strategies and tips that perhaps in this market, how we as homeowners are able to capitalize on this to help us in our property journey. All right, great. So we have quite a fair bit of you coming in. Let's see. All right, for those who just joined in, well, also we're live right now. So do share with, just type in a yes inside the chat if you can hear me and see me well. So many of you, I'm sure that this could be the first time that you're hearing me speak. And so my webinars are a little bit different. So there's a lot of interactions. So do respond with your chat, with your replies, so that I know that you are listening. And also at the same time, I know you're learning from this masterclass. Right? If not, I'm actually staring at blank screen, right? I do not know whether can you see me, whether whatever I'm sharing, is it correct or not? Do you understand me? All right, so help me out by responding a yes inside the chat if you can hear me and see me well right now. Thank you for those who have responded. All right, so right now, if you are occupied with certain stuff, right, I want you to clear everything away, because for you joining in here, I'm sure you also don't want to lose your time with me. So, all right, so I want you guys to participate. And the more you participate, I can guarantee you the retention of the information and understanding is so much better. Okay. So in a short while, I'll be toggling different screens. So in case you find that, hey, how come Edmund, you're not looking at me? No, it's not that. It's just that I have different channels and different things that I'm actually showing you. Okay. So if you all can see the screen, just give me a shout out, a yes inside the chat, please. I just want to make sure that the screen is also live so you can see me well. Great. Thank you so much for those who have responded. Well, so the main thing is, as homeowners, right, with the new 2023 cooling measures, we as homeowners, we definitely want to know how it can impact us in terms of property, not only just in terms of the HDB market, as well as the private market also at the same time. Okay, so throughout this entire session later on, what I'm going to help you guys is to get clarity about what is actually happening in these cooling measures and why did the government actually come in these measures when they just recently, in end of 2022, they just introduced one. All right, and not even 6 months later, another one was introduced. So we're going to dive in very, very deep to understand the insights. So I always believe, right, today, by understanding the knowledge and the trends, as well as the history of property, you will be able to grasp it better to make a better informed decision for you and your family, whether you want to sell or whether you intend to buy a property in today's timing. So of course, I want every one of you to stay all the way throughout to the end of the session, because I'm going to share with you guys a list of properties that I have personally researched and selected that is ideal for maximum growth potential. Right? So this is only shared all the way to the last slide because I want you guys to stay on, right? So I will going to share with you guys how you all can claim this bonus later on at the end of my session, so that you can also take a look at the research that we have done for properties that have maximum growth potential. So as all sessions that I run, please do also make sure that you do your due diligence check as a competent homeowner from a data and numbers perspective. And whatever that I'm sharing with you today, right, it doesn't mean that, oh, Edmund say this, that's what I need to go and do. Everybody's family situation is very different. So we want to make sure that you know what you are doing before you actually do it. All right. So just to give you guys a quick overview, my name is Edmund Tan, and together with my wife, we co-founded the Singapore Real Estate Insider. So this is actually a community where we constantly give updates, learning strategies about property, news, and updates. And that is very important. How many of you agree that today the market of property are always constantly changing? Okay, but yet many of us are still having a 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago strategy that perhaps that's the last time that you have handled property. So the reason why we want to have a community like this is also to constantly keep you updated, keep you ahead of the market. So for example, like when this cooling measure comes in, we want to quickly get this information out to you, this knowledge out to you, so that we can what? Recalibrate some of the plans that we originally have, and how these new updates is all going to affect our plans and decision making. Right? So that's the reason why we have this community. And for both of us, we have been in the business since 2009. We have seen all the ups and all the downs. and we are able to basically do our clients in terms of consultations, because we are also homeowners ourselves, we are investors ourselves, and we are practitioners on the ground. So that is also one of the reasons why we are able to always have relevant and current knowledge and strategies to share with our clients inside this community. Okay, so to give you guys a quick background story, my family, basically, I stay and grew up in a 4-bedroom HDB, you see. And the key thing is that the entire family, we are very, very happy, we are very comfortable, because staying in the HDB, is what everybody start off with, right? And the key thing is that my dad, being a business owner, are able to actually monopolize it, his business, and do well in his business as well, that eventually we move from a HDB to a condo and to a landed property. And eventually he also went on to purchase quite a fair bit of properties for investment. So everything was very good, very comfortable, staying in a big house until the 2009 financial crisis happened. I'm sure many of you, if you look back, you will remember what happened in 2009. Okay, the economy was not good. The crisis came. Business was, atrocious. And eventually, property market also went into a slump during that time. And unfortunately, he had to sell off everything to make sure that he carries on, and eventually even went bankrupt. So growing up during that period, we eventually had to sell off all the properties and move to a rented HDB instead, just as a roof over our head. So during that time, it was a huge struggle, growing up, that, hey, how come we have everything and then suddenly we have nothing? So it was a very, very painful experience. And after growing up right now, then I realized how property is so important. It can help a family, and it can also break a family. So when I was going through this business, I also realized that there's a huge problem going on in the marketplace, that many of us, we are still using very outdated strategies, information, and knowledge to tackle our own property situation. How many of you, perhaps your last property that you purchased is more than 10 years ago? How many of you had your current property that you purchased that is more than 10 years ago? Type in 10 inside the chat. Type in 10 inside the chat. Right, so that I can roughly know who the audience here is, and I can actually tweak what I'm going to share with you pertaining to your situation as well. So many a times, the last period that we perhaps purchase or transact a property could be 10, 15, or even 20 years ago. And during that time, the strategy that works then perhaps may not work right now. How many of you agree with that? If you agree with that, type in a yes inside the chat. But yet, we are still following through, thinking that, oh, whatever works last time will work today. So my friend, my role here is also to share with you the reality check of things, to make sure that we are getting new information in as we speak. So there's the first thing, that we use very wrong strategy. And I want all of you to take out a pen and paper to write it down. Okay, because these are all very real situations. And the faster that you can acknowledge that these are the problems that is facing, the faster we can make a better decision for ourselves. All right, so the number one, I want you to write down outdated strategy. Okay, number one, you write down the problem that is outdated strategy. The number two problem that I usually see in homeowners is that we want to do something, but we do not know what to do. We do not know how to do it because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of access to resources. So when we don't have all this, and you kind of struggle to really decide on your plans, you decided, then don't do lah. How many of you got faced this kind of situation? All right, by you sharing here, don't worry, everything is within this group. This is a very safe environment, okay? We are not here to judge you. We are not here to penalize you. But by you sharing your views and by commenting in the chat, it helps you to internalize a little bit better, okay? So that you can see yourself doing it, or in whatever question I ask you, you can ask yourself, is this happening to you? So the number two problem I see is that there's a lot of people who want to do certain things, but because of the lack of knowledge and resources, they couldn't make a better decision. They couldn't make an informed decision. And then they say that, then don't do lah, so troublesome, so complicated. And then they delay it 1 month, delay it few more months, then few more years comes. So they keep waiting to wanting to get to do something, but they have no resources to help them. So this is the number two problems that I see. And I want you to write down lack of knowledge and resources. I want you to please write down lack of knowledge and resources. Right. The third thing that I saw, okay, the third thing that a lot of homeowners that we have advised and consulted is that many they want to do, but they don't know what's next. What is the next property they should go for. All right, so, and they do not know where to buy, they do not know what type of property to buy and how much to buy, especially. And how many of you agree, if let's say today I ask you, how do you make a decision for your last property purchase? Okay, do you base on data? Do you base on numbers? Or you likely based on, oh, how much budget I have? Oh, this location I'm very familiar. I stay here before, I should buy this location. Or you may be making a decision based on, I think this place, wow, I think very good lah. I think can hot one. I think I buy here. You see. So the third thing that I want you to write down is that the lack of strategy. Okay, lack of strategies on how do you buy property? Because many of us we tikam buy property one. You see. So it may not. It's like, oh, my budget is X amount. This is where I'm familiar with, or this is where my parents stay. I grew up this area. Then you just go and buy. There's a lot of other perspectives that today I also want to share with you based on property market, and it's very important. So write down these 3 problems because we're going to address them one by one later on. So over the years, right, because of what happened to my family, I spent a lot of money on learning about property, to really go for classes, webinars, seminars, buy books, just to get a grasp about what is going on. And throughout all my journey of learning about property, right, I realized one big thing. A lot of all these books, online resources, they are, I wouldn't say they are not accurate. They are accurate to some extent, but many of them are outdated. They are not as current as possible because it makes sense, right? Today, if I write a book, even if I want to publish a book, it will be maybe 3 to 6 months later. The market for Singapore changes as quick as possible one. So it's very irrelevant when we are learning things from resources like this, especially when there are so many noises out there, YouTube, social media, and it confuses us as proper homeowners, right? That we do not know what is going to be done. So the reason why we want to run masterclasses like this is because we can stay relevant. We can enhance the latest information and updates to you directly, and you can use it for your own property planning. Does it make sense? All right. So one of the key things that as I was learning, right, I always believe in fundamentals. I always believe in foundation. That the quicker that we lay down our foundation and we stick to it, right, the better our chances of success in property. Okay, the higher the chances of our success. So I want you to take your pen and paper, right? I want you to write down these 5 key principles. Okay, these 5 key principles are something that is very, very relevant regardless of any market condition. Okay, whether it's an up market, whether it's a down market, it doesn't matter. I want you to write these 5 key principles. This is one of the 5 key principles that we strictly use to guide our clients into the marketplace. Okay, whether it's the location, you also have to start looking at supply and demand in the area. You also must see that what is the future 5 to 10 years plan so that you can have potential upsides. What are the risk component? All right, property always have risk. We cannot say it's 100% sure win. There will always be risk, but can we do calculated risk? Not just about the property that we buy, but also on our finances that we don't want to overstretch. And most importantly, my friend, your exit strategy. Today, buying a property, how many of you agree? Actually, it's very easy. Okay, you can just go to those portals, you go and search the property type based on your budget, the location you want, and then you just go viewings after viewings after viewings until you like what you see. Does it make sense? So many, 90% of the homeowners are buying property like this. But did you ever think about how long are you keeping your property for? And in the event, if you intend to change out from your property, you want to swap out your property, what is your exit strategy? Will your property still command the same value that you wanted it for the next 5 to 10 years? And what is the next plan after you exit? All right, so during this period when I was going through all this learning, then I realized that there's is there a better way for us to do property more systematically, more predictably? All right, so this is why we want to guide you guys on the various strategies, various frameworks that we use that we can easily build a 1 million property capital twice as fast for our future retirement. Okay, so this is very, very crucial. So when we were looking at all these case studies that we have learned, right, we realized that how many of you agree that today you know where you are? You kind of know like, oh, hey, I'm staying in a HDB or I'm staying in a private property. But at the same time, right, you do also want to what? Do something better. How many of you right now, you already have been thinking for the maybe last few years that, hey, actually, I want to change out of my property. I have this desire to maybe upgrade to a better location. go to buy a bigger property and upgrade your lifestyle? How many of you have that kind of process thinking in any other years throughout? And if that's you, just type in B inside the chat. Type in B inside the chat, right? Because many of times we know where we are right now, but we also have a kind of a desire that, hey, I think maybe I can do better. Maybe I can upgrade from a HDB to a private property. So we know where we are now and we know where we want to go. But the question is, there is this big gap always. There's always this big gap. And this gap is preventing you from doing it. And why do I say so? Because the fact of the matter is today, we all want to do better in our lives. We want to improve our lifestyles. We want to help our families to enjoy the facilities, the environment that they are in. But because of this gap, we do not know what to do. We do not know how to do it. How many of you agree? If you agree, just type in yes inside the chat. And I want to be very directly honest. And this is the gap that is preventing many homeowners from doing something in their property. Because there's this huge gap, a huge knowledge gap, a huge knowledge gap, a huge resource gap. And because they do not know what to do, how to do it, they decided, just put it aside. I also don't know how to handle. I also don't know how to see property. See, so the role that we are doing here in the community is to help you bridge this gap, to provide you the resources, to provide you the data, to provide you the numbers and access into the information of property so that when we discuss, you can make a better informed decision for your family. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? And this is also the reason why we created the REI method. Okay, the REI method is a systematic way of guiding any families, any homeowners, right, to review their property, to have more clarity, to evaluate the current situation, the current performance of the property, and what we can do to unlock cash out from it, and to identify the next property that is ideal, safe for your family so that you can avoid all the unnecessary mistakes without second guessing. How many of you will want to also go into the property with a very clear direction to go from the unknown to the known in a few sessions with us? How many of you would like that to also give you a better sense about your property? Type in 1 inside the chat. Type in 1 inside the chat. Because what I'm going to share with you today, right, besides just the cooling measures and everything, is because we ourselves are adopting the REI method for our own purchase as well, not just for our clients. And later on, stay throughout because I'm going to show you real situations that is happening to us, real situations that is happening to our clients that we are able to systematically do this over the years, and these are as real as it gets. Okay, so like for Devru, right, when he wanted to buy and enter the rental market, as per every homeowners, every first-time buyer for himself, he wanted to buy a private property. And of course, there's so much info out there that he also confused, very blur, and he don't know what to do to start. So he know he wanted to buy. But then question is, which one to buy? Which one can appreciate better? Which one has better protection of value? And he do not know how to find all this. And that's when he reached out to us for a one-on-one consultation with us personally. And throughout the consult, he gained better, deeper understanding and clarity of what is going to happen in the next few years of Singapore. And that's where we guided him through multiple different consultations so that he knows that we are using historical data and information to narrow down his choices. So this is a step-by-step process that we guided him, and it's all backed up by research and data. Right, so he has successfully already just collected his key and he's going to do renovation to his property. And he's very excited because he knows that this time when he look at property, he knows what he's looking at. He is not going in blindly or guessing, you see. So we just have to ask ourselves. So today is a very, I'm giving you guys tough love. So certain things I'll be quite harsh on you guys, but I want to really share with you all very transparently what is actually happening in the property market. Okay, and many of us, we are stuck inside this situation, and there's a lot of mistakes and traps that we are making. But unfortunately, we do not see that they are the mistakes. We do not see that they are the traps because you don't know what you don't know. So my role here is to give you full clarity, full transparency. I'm not going to sugarcoat on what should be done and what should not be done. And I will give you guys tough love, lah, okay? So certain question I ask you, it may hit your heart so hard. It's like, Edmund, why are you talking about me? Okay, I'm not talking about you, but generally that's what is happening to a lot of homeowners. And we are finding this very disturbing. Okay, so one of the key reasons is I also want you guys to do a reality check of yourself today, of the situation that you're in, the property situation that you're in, so you can understand it better to make a informed decision. What do you want to do next? Okay, so ask yourself, if you base on the last purchase that you have done or the property currently you are staying, ask yourself, how did you make that decision to buy the property? Okay, how do you make a decision to buy the property? Is it just based on budget? Is it just based on that you're staying there nearby, or you're just familiar with the location? Because today, 90% of the homeowners are basing their decision just like that. Nothing wrong, okay? Because this has been the normal way when you don't have access to any strategies, resources, and knowledge. But today, what I'm going to share with you is that if today you have access to knowledge and resources, will it help you to make a better decision? That's all. All right, think through yourself and ask yourself, would it help if there's somebody who's able to provide you more information, more data points, even from a transaction prices perspective, to guide you whether are you overpaying for a certain property, even though you love it so much. And then when the data and numbers come out, it may or may not be the one. Will you think that this extra information can help you make a better decision for the next 5, 10, or even 15 years down the road? Okay, I want you to answer yourself in your heart. Of course, the REI method, okay, the REI method is never about getting rich. Okay, a lot of us, we thought that, oh, our property can make me rich. Yes, it can grow well for us, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. Okay, I want to address, this is not something, a magic bean, then tomorrow you become a millionaire. No, no such thing. All right, there's still money involved. There's definitely risk involved. But what we can do is to learn from all these mistakes that others are making, right? And then we avoid the mistakes. Okay, mistakes like what? Today I buy a property and then I go and ask a friend for advice, for example. And then your friend will advise you, just buy this property lah. But then you don't know what is going on because your friend says so, you just follow. But understand, my friends, everyone's situation is very different. Okay, whatever other people are introducing or recommending, it doesn't mean that it suits you well. So it may be based on their own situation, their own finances, their own family planning. That's why they went to buy this property. But it doesn't mean that you are also in the same situation to purchase that property. Does it make sense? So a lot of times we always listen to those that who have bought property before, nothing wrong, because they buy before. But the question is, their solution, does it tailor to you? Is it personalized to you? So there's always this saying, right? Well, I listen to my friend and then I buy this property. That's it. Wow, make decisions based on that. Or then like that, the business very easy to do. You see, there's a lot of businesses out there will fail already. So when we are listening to friends and advice, we can seek for advice, but it doesn't mean that we must follow it through. Or that's why you want to really have the insights of what is happening before you make a decision. All right, so like even say Melvin also has a lot of friends, a lot of agent friends, and when he was talking to them, then give him different ideas until he himself also confused. So that's why he reached out to us when he sees our credentials on Google, where we are on all over the place. And then we spoke about how to use data-driven method approach in his decision-making, right? Of course, whatever sharing he got his friends, all these are guidelines, are references, which is great, you see. And of course, for his age, we also have to reconsider, is it safe for him to re-enter the market? You see, so that's why we are here to help you out, to give you the clarity and the directions before we even start doing it. All right. So of course, at the end of the day, we will still either sell a property, purchase a property, but at least you know you are doing it correctly. And this is also one of the reasons why every session we charge at least $500 per session, just to get you guys to get clear in your property journey, to work with us on this property journey. Like for polling also, after polling, just like you who attended the webinars and realized that she gained quite a fair bit of valuable information and updates, especially the current property market outlook. Very important. So we do a lot of research findings, okay, the latest government policies, which is what I'm going to share with you later, and the areas for investment and how to enter the market with a clear mind and direction. See, so because if you do not know what's the clear direction, you end up guessing yourself inside. Not that you will go wrong, Okay, in property, Singapore property market, the likelihood of you making mistakes is actually quite low. But are there cases where properties actually don't grow one? Still have. So the question is, how do we see how future of Singapore is going to be to set a proper direction? You see, so at the end of the day for polling, right, of course, she's been staying on the HDB that is more than 40 years. And finally, she let go of her emotion and move on with the logical thought process using data and numbers to guide her in the right direction. You see, so how many of you are staying in properties that is more than 20 years, right? You may also want to reassess your current situation because the property lease decay situation is very real in Singapore. Okay, so one of the things that we do to help our clients is how can we further protect your value in terms of the property that you have? Because after doing so many different sales and purchases, right, we've transacted so many worth of property value, right? We understand what works. Okay, we understand the fundamentals of what works, but more importantly, we understand the mistakes and the traps out there so that we can avoid them totally. How many of you would love to also have a set of guidelines to avoid mistakes? How many of you want to avoid mistakes in your property decision? If you ask me, the success way of doing it is actually not difficult. But the better way is to find out what are the different things that people are doing wrong, right? And then we avoid them totally. This is very important. Which is why when I'm going to share with you these cooling measures later on, right? I want you all to have an open mind. An open mind of what I'm going to share with you. Why? Because all this that I'm sharing with you is backed up by data, backed up by numbers. Okay? We are not guessing here. And if you choose to believe yourself and not relying on data and numbers to make a decision, this one is your call. Okay? Because I will never believe if, let's say I believe in myself in a certain understanding, but if it's not backed up by data and numbers, then I'm just guessing, or I'm just hoping that things are turning the other way around. So I'm going to be very blunt, very upfront, very transparent here, but I will be showing you my tough love, okay, to share with you all really from a data perspective, what am I seeing in today's marketplace? Okay, I want you all to have an open mind. All right, as you go through, maybe you say that, hey, Edmund, are you sure or not? Whatever you're sharing, is it really like this or not? You know, can this be done? Are you sure? All right, so if you have all these kind of doubts, right, chances are, that's why you're here, That's why you're here to learn things that you don't know. If you know already, you will not be here. Agree or not? So do have an open mind later, whatever I share with you, because only those with open mind, you will be able to see opportunity later on. Okay, and I assure you, today's marketplace, there's plenty of opportunity only if you choose to see it. Okay, only if you choose to see it. So of course, it's nothing new that if you already know the news about ABSD, you know, adding on to Singaporeans for second property increase, and of course, the foreigners are the biggest impact. All this information, I'm not going to run through. You all can read it yourself. Okay, I'm not here to give you all reading class. Okay, so all this actually shocked the market. But the question is, we must understand why this happened. Okay, why even with this thing it happened. And how many of you agree that cooling measure is not the first time? It's not the first time that you have cooling measures, right? Or it's not the first time we have cooling measures. Okay, so it kind of already get used to it. So because for private market, right? Let me just run through the private market. There's multiple cooling measures, and the recent cooling measures is largely targeting the private market. All right, you can see that we have multiple cooling measures, a long time. Okay, so if you do not know, right, cooling measures has been around since 2000 year. Okay, since 2000 year. So we already crossed the 20-year mark for cooling measures. It's just that a lot of the previous cooling measures were not impactful enough until the latest in 2013. 2013 cooling measures is the most impactful part, which is why you can see a price decrease in terms of price index. So 2013 cooling measures has direct impact on our affordability, our loan capability. That is why it has a very huge impact in terms of the property market. But I want to draw your attention on studying this history. How come, even with the various cooling measures, right? So this is the one cooling, I mean, of course, this is the one cooling measures. We have so many different micro ones as well, so many different ones, okay? But yet, do you see that the property prices is still on an upward trend? Okay, so whatever the government is doing, right, cooling measures or not, right, the price is still going up. Okay, have you actually ever wondered and asked yourself this? Ask yourself, okay? You can share your answers in the chat, doesn't matter. All right, like I say, we are all here to learn. We are not here to prejudge anyone. But by you responding, by you typing in the chat, it gives you a better knowledge, understanding. All right. Because if you can see, right, previously, before 2013, okay, before, a lot of all these dips that we have, all these are because of what? Global financial situation. Because of global financial situations, that's why our prices came down a very, very high double-digit figures, 40%, minus 20%, minus 24, minus almost 25%. So that's when cooling measures starts to come in, all right? Even before here, you can see that there are cooling measures as well. But they are not impactful enough until 2013. And from here, you can see what is happening after here, after. Even with cooling measures, prices continue to go up. And if I were to point your attention, like for cooling measures, it went down about 11.6%. But the next 5 quarters, it went up 9.6%. Then, of course, when government realized, hey, the things are a little bit heated up already, then what? They reduce it again. Now, this time round, only 0.7. But it went up 3.4. It came down 0.1. Then it went up 28%. Okay, so that's why from a research and data, historical data, you'll be able to kind of see what is actually happening. And today, anything after 2013, even though we have so many different cooling measures, prices still continue to go up. The question you must ask yourself is why? Later on, we will study it so that you can understand better. All right, great. Thank you so much. All right, so personally, I do not see the private market go down this year. Okay, and they will continue to go up even more next year. And I will share with you my theory, my data, why I say so. Okay, and there are many, many different reasons. Okay, especially why government come in another cooling measures just before the first quarter is because they saw this. In first quarter, it went up 3.3%. And that is why the government released these cooling measures before the first quarter index comes out. So we have been trying to keep pace with a single digit growth every other year, if you can see from the different years. All right, we are always trying to keep it within a single digit. And if the first quarter already went up 3.3%, and if it continues like this for the next other quarters, is it going to be a double digit growth? All right, so that is what the government is trying to handle and limit, okay, to gradually grow, but not crazy. Because can you imagine if it's a very high amount, right? We're talking about 30+% growth every year. Is it sustainable, my friend? All right. So the key questions the government is trying to do is to make sure that the property prices are still sustainable. It grow gradually, not in a spike up and spike down situation. And we have further also, break it down into the different types of properties that you can see from here, from landed property, non-landed property. And then from non-landed, we will break it down into the different zones, CCR, RCR, and OCR application. So Desmond Lee himself shared already, ABSD raise is to just dampen the demand. Okay, we are not trying to crash the market. Okay, they already highlighted. Okay, it's not going to crash the market. And they also acknowledge, you must understand government always have their foresight. They know what is going to happen. They know what might be down the road in the next 3-6 months. And they will always do preemptive measures. Okay, not preventive, preemptive. So they will always do first. Okay, and then later on, we will enjoy the fruit of our labor. It's the same thing for 2013 cooling measures. When it came out, everybody is complaining. Wow, I want to buy property now, you tax this, tax that. But eventually, did we see that it is actually helping us? Definitely. Definitely is helping us. Because why? Because if they do not have the cooling measures, prices will not be at this rate right now. And you and I, we will not be coming on to learn about property and to use property as a form of instrument to grow well. We will never, because the prices will go up so high, ma. How many of you agree? If you agree, type in agree. Type in agree if you share my sentiment. Okay, so that's why the cooling measures are there to maintain. And today we will think twice before buying because we want to make sure that, hey, we can afford it. Our LTV, we have to, have enough of cash, down payment. If not, don't think, you see. So this is actually to help us be more prudent instead of speculating in the marketplace. All right. And of course, they also sense that there's an interest from foreigners has risen. Of course, because after COVID, everything opens. Definitely more investors are looking for new grounds, ways of very stable market. And Singapore is definitely one of the top choices. not just for families, but for businesses as well. And that's why the government knows this, that, hey, with the foreigners' interest increasing, let us be a little bit more careful, okay? And that's why this is the reason they are looking to curb the foreigners more, okay? Because the foreign interest in residential property has always been high, okay? But because of this, they understand the foreigners are coming in. That's why what? The ABSD is targeting at them. Does Singaporeans and PRs change in terms of ABSD? How many of you got read your news one? You all should know lah. Did anything change for Singaporeans and PR or not? Don't have, ma. Why? Because today, anyone who's buying their first property, likelihood is for their roof over their head, ma. It's not for speculation. It's not for investment. So the local demand is still very, very high. Very, very high. You see? So the government already says is to dampen the investment from abroad. Okay. And you can see that from 2022, the data, ABSD rate hikes will affect about 10% of all private residential. Only 10%, my friend. Later on, we will have more data to show you. Many times when we look at the headlines, we always complain, the foreigners are buying our property, that's why our property goes up. Nothing wrong with seeing the headline. But later on, we will dive into the data and numbers to share with you whether this 10%, does it actually affect the entire property market? Okay, because today you are a Singaporean, you are PR, there is no changes for you, and the data will show it later on. All right, so many times when we look at headlines like this, right, let me ask you, will 10% of the population or transactions affect the other 90%? How many of you believe that the 10% will affect the 90%? Type in yes or no. Doesn't matter, no right or wrong answer one. So actually you know the answer yourself. Whether the 10% that has been affected, will they affect the 90%? Because the 90% is just like you and me. We have very strong appetite one, and our stability is very, very strong one. Singapore, actually, for all the Singaporeans, got a lot of money. All right, so do we necessarily need to sell our house at a loss? But we actually can have more capacity to buy another one, you see. Because why? We have the income, we have the job, and we prepared to pay that. We prepared to pay 2001, 2002 for new launches, you see. So today, the hammer is on this 10%. Question is, will this impact be huge, or will it just be an end bite, okay, in the marketplace? All right, I leave it to you, go and think, because later on I will address with all the data and numbers, and then you can see better, okay? So question is, now with the cooling measures have a direct impact. I want to ask every one of you here, right? Let me just pull out a poll. Okay. How many cooling measures have you seen since day one, since 2000 year? How many cooling measures have you seen? How many? Just type in your answers inside the poll. All right. Some great. All right. Some have seen less than 2. We have 4 to 6. Right. So of course, by putting in how many cooling measures, we roughly know how old you are also. Joking. All right. So come, share with me your answers. Come, put it inside the chat. All right. There's so many of you all here. You all should be participating. All right. Because only by participating, then you can learn. If not, no need to come in. Why waste your time? You can spend time with your family, go for your brunch, lunch, and everything. All right. Participate so that you can understand better about what do you know or don't know about property market. And there's no right or wrong answer here, so don't need to worry about that. All right, so we have some seen 4 to 6, 7 to 9. Okay, yeah, so I can tell you there's a lot of cooling measures actually. Many cooling measures over the last many years. So you must understand, whenever there's a cooling measures, there's always a knee-jerk reaction, meaning what? There will be some cool down, for a while. Then after that, everybody go back to normal. How many of you agree? Now, when it comes to cooling measures, your answer is like, again, okay, so what's new? You see? So Singaporeans get used to things very, very fast, and we basically just move on with the life. So the question is, will this impact the market? And many of us, we are looking at, whenever there's a cooling measures, prices will come down. How many of you agree? Every time we always look at it, it's like prices will come down because of cooling measures. Okay, later on, I'll share with you what is going on. So I share with you my own story. Same thing, like when 2013, right, when the cooling measures comes out, me and my brother, we were supposed to buy another property. Okay, so we already worked out the sums, everything. Then when the cooling measure hit, we all like, wow, 5% extra leh. Don't pay, don't pay. Wow, then you a little bit angry. Right? How many of you got that kind of situation whenever the cooling measures come in just before you want to buy property? And then you kind of very sian. Like, wow, like that government take my money, 5%, pay them for what? Don't buy. Okay, don't buy. So many of us, we do that, right? Don't buy lah. They will remove one. I also fall into that category back in 2013. Okay, even though I'm already practicing the market, right? Data, everything was a little bit lesser, not as transparent as now. Okay, so then I also, with my brother, I tell him, don't buy lah. 5% give government. Let's wait for them to remove the cooling measures. Okay, so I was also in that situation. Then what happened after that? So what happened after you miss out the 5% ABSD? If those who have been monitoring property news and property updates, they went on to increase to 7%. So instead of paying 5% now, to buy a second property, Singaporeans have to pay 7%. So during that time, I was looking at, there's more data that I will actually churn out. Then I told my brother, let's do it. Okay, the way that I see when I was studying during that back then, right, I realized that they will not remove the ABSD because there's just too much equity in the marketplace. Okay, that people want to buy a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of money moving around that people can buy property, right? So during that time, then I was telling myself, hey, 7% pay lah. If not, when prices continue to go up, okay, with or without the cooling measures, ABSD, right, prices will still continue to go up. So let us just purchase. So we went actually on to purchase a second property with 7% ABSD. So right now, who has the last laugh? Right now, what is the percentage for second property for Singaporeans? How many of you can remember the knowledge? Type in the chat. Okay. So now it's 20%. So from 7%, it went up to 12%. 12% keep increasing, right? 17%, 17%, and finally now 20%. So the question is, why are we waiting for all these measures to be removed? Do you agree that they will never be removed because we need to keep our property market sustainable, right? So we will study a little bit more later on. All right, so most of you have seen at least 4 to even 9 cooling measures. All right, great, cool. So the key thing is that you must understand the gradual return of foreign buyers to the market is a huge indicator why government come in with cooling measures. So the question is, will the foreigners continue to buy? Will the foreigners continue to buy even with the new cooling measures? So just remember, the last round for foreigners, they need to pay 30%. Okay? So 30%, the foreigners are still buying. So it remains inside whether now with 60%, will they pay the 60% for the stamp duty? This one we still do not know because it's still very new, right? So we still do not know yet. Okay, so the key thing is that you must understand is, if today the foreigners are able to pay 30%, 60% is actually nothing. But of course, we will have to justify whether this has direct impact for us as the 90+% homeowners ownership in Singaporean who are Singaporeans and PR. Okay, very important. So because why? Because foreigners usually their keen interest is always on the CCR. So the CCR market will definitely be impacted. Okay, which is definitely primarily an investment haven. Okay, but recent years, we are also seeing a lot of Singaporeans and PR entering into the CCR market. Okay, why? Because the income increases, we become more affluent, we become more knowledgeable, we have access to more information and data and numbers, our earning power increases, and the way that we want our standard of living goes higher as well. So that's why we are also seeing quite a fair bit of Singaporeans and PR buying into CCR property, which generally is always for investment. Okay, but right now, many of them are buying them for own stay as well. So the key thing is that you must understand from a data perspective, right? From 2021, 2022, 2023, you can see majority is still who is buying property. Who is the majority group that is still buying property? Okay, you must understand. Okay, so Singaporeans are still major home buyers. All right. So the question is, if the foreigners are placing such a small little volume, right, will they be affecting the Singaporean and PR? Okay, so that's why from data, you must understand what is happening. Because for the many years, even in years where we keep hearing and seeing newspaper report that says that foreigners are buying property, actually they take up very, very small percentage. Okay. Singapore and PR, if you can see, right, they take up more than 90% of ownership in Singapore. Whereas the foreigners are just a very, very small numbers. That's why we call it N byte lah. You see, the N byte. You see, so the numbers are very small. So if you look at OCR, the numbers are so small in terms of the foreigners buying in the mass market. So if you want to wait for developers to reduce their price because of the small percentage of foreigners, right? Will you or not? Will you as a developer or not? Or will you increase some more because now more Singaporeans and more PR maybe want to rush into buying property? Will the developers think on their mind? Will they increase their prices or reduce? So you must be more sensitive lah. So I'm sure there will be a knee-jerk reaction. That means there will be a kind of a cool down period because of these new cooling measures. But today, if you are ready and you already have been wanting to re-enter the market, I can tell you this is one of the biggest opportunities that you have. And history repeats itself. I will share with you the history later, and history will repeat itself today. Okay, I'm very, very confident because we personally went through it ourselves. And if let's say we even look at the RCR, city fringe area, the percentage don't even cross that much. It's very, very little bit of foreigners impacting the entire market. You see, of course, for CCR, periodically is still for investment. That's why their numbers are a little bit higher, but the numbers are not crazy. The numbers of foreigners buying into CCR are not crazy, my friend. You see, so many a times when we look at properties data like this, right, then we keep seeing that actually foreigners, they are buying properties, but then why are we keep seeing all the news and articles? Because they are the high net worth. They are buying the properties that are usually more than 10 million. That's why they can make the news, ma. But let me share with you who is the other group, right, that is buying all the $10 million property. How many of you want to find out who are the other groups of buyers who are buying purchases more than 10 million? I want to make a guess or not? Or even for purchases above 10 million, Singapore and PR also comprises close to more than 60%. So actually, today, if you ask only the foreigners are the rich one, it's not true anymore. Singaporeans and PRs are also buying all the more than $10 million property. You can see the numbers in 2022. Singaporeans take up and the PR take up so much, but the foreigners are still very, very little. Of course, for 2023, we only have the first quarter data, which is why you can see that the numbers also increases for Singaporean. Okay. And the PR as well. So primarily above 10 million is also very crucial. So that's why you must understand with all this data. So the question is, I want to ask every one of you also, today, let us make a guess. Okay, let us make a guess. Let's do another poll here. Okay, let us do another poll here. How many of you can guess this? Which other nationality, right, is in second place who bought the most property in 2022? Okay, which other nationality is in second place who bought the most property in 2022? Guess, make a guess. Nothing wrong, no prize to win also lah. No right or wrong answer. Don't worry. Come on, there's so many of you here. You all should be all participating. Come on. All right, let's see whether we have some surprises here. Okay, so my role is really to show you what goes inside, and which is why using all this data and knowledge that I'm sharing with you, why we are able to make better decisions for ourselves as well as for our clients to move forward in the marketplace. Okay, and we don't guess ourselves. Okay, so far China is leading. Okay, this one is like what, SEA Games, right? Oh, Malaysia is also coming on board. Indonesia, all right, man. In Malaysia is catching up. Well, everybody is thinking, okay, Hong Kong is on the board right now. Well, nobody think about India or Thailand. Okay, we have USA also on board, Indonesia as well. Great. All right. So the question is, we must ask ourselves is, today, the foreigners buying properties are actually not very big. Okay, are very, very small amount. But the key thing is, today, who are the ones actually buying properties in Singapore? This is also important for us to know. All right, let's just give ourselves another 10 more seconds before I close the poll. All right, what about the rest of you? The rest of you are just on your coming in to relax, is it? You're coming in to learn, my friend. Coming to learn, participate, share your knowledge, share your views. I think that's very, very important. Okay, the rest of you too shy, is it? Click only, nobody know who you are anyway. Okay, that's why you are here, don't worry. Okay, so now we have, okay, India and Thailand is still not on board. Taiwan also not on board. So basically, none of you believe that some of all these countries. Okay, let's end the poll. Okay, let me share the result as well so that you all can see. Okay, cool. So the key thing is, let us see who are the number 2 nationality who bought properties in Singapore. Ta-da! Okay, so 2021, of course, China is definitely the powerhouse, not only in Singapore, but majority of the countries in the whole world. They are the number 1 purchasers. But how many of you are surprised with USA being second? How many of you are surprised? Type in 1 inside the chat. Type in 1 inside the chat that USA is in second place. And it's not a small number. Okay, it's relatively quite a big number. How many of you want to know the reason? Only if you type in 1 inside the chat, then I share with you the reason. Or because only 1 people respond, 2 people respond, then the rest, then I don't share all simple. Or yeah, I need your energy. Come on, my friend. I'm staring at blank screen. If you don't respond, I don't know whether are you listening to me? Can you hear me right? Are you learning something? What about the rest? Come on, the rest. Type in your answers accordingly. Type in your answers accordingly. Okay. How many of you want to know why US are the ones buying property in Singapore as well? All right, previously you may not have even heard about US people buying property. You may heard of Malaysian, Indonesian, China, of course, and perhaps some of them from Australia or even Indonesia. All right, so very, very important. So the question is why? Because of Sulin. Sulin is not a girl name now, okay? It's basically a Sulin. So this is a free trade arrangement that Singapore has with all these 5 countries, that basically when they buy property in Singapore, they do not pay tax. Okay? They do not pay tax. So meaning they buy just like us Singaporeans, not even like PR. PR still need to pay 5%. They buy properties just like us, 0% tax. Okay? So that is why it's very, very important. So why do I want to share with you this? Because today, if you understand what is happening, right? Yes, majority of the buyers is in China. Okay? They are foreigners. They pay 30% perhaps for most of them. But how many of you agree that if you are a US citizen, you can also be a Chinese national? That means you are from China, but you are a US citizen. Can it happen? Can it happen or not? Or can I be Australia? I can be Australian, I can be an Indonesian, I can be Malaysian, but I'm holding a US citizen. So can they buy property in Singapore without tax? See where I'm coming from? So I can tell you that's why I do not foresee the prices coming down as well, because there are other channels of all these other nationality to buy property still continue in Singapore, and they pay the same as us. No tax. Okay. Just as a green card, if you are in US, you can come in to buy property in Singapore. And that is why the numbers are shockingly high. Okay. If you ask me, majority of them could be also pure the US citizens. Okay, but I do have a few of my clients, they are honkies. They're from Hong Kong. Okay. They are from Hong Kong, but they hold US citizen. So instead of paying the 60% right now for ABSD, they basically just use their US citizen passport and they buy property in Singapore. So it's very, very common. Okay. Everybody knows, right? A lot of agents actually go to US. So now that they know that there is this I wouldn't say loophole, but there's this free trade arrangement. Do you think that they will not buy property? They will keep thinking also, wow, now I save 60%. I better buy. I faster buy. So that's why I also don't foresee, yes, the slap on the foreigners of 60% is high, but eventually, all right, it will be very, very common. All right, so I have many different research that we have done also on the ground. That's why we are able to share with you all this information. Another thing that we are seeing right now is also a lot of the foreigners are trying to become PR. Same thing because of property, right? If they know that they're going to pay 30% last time, 60% right now, they all will want to apply to become PR. Does it make sense? And then when they become PR, immediately they save 55%. So will they want to become a PR? Definitely, definitely. And I share with you one of the reasons why this is going to happen, and it will happen. Okay, so ABSD, of course, American, I mean, I already show you the numbers. For 2022, they actually account 305 units transactions. And of course, for first quarter, already 79 units. Okay, so one of the key things that you must understand why this is going to happen, because in 2012, right, the government already, okay, already highlighted that we have a milestone to hit by 2030. Okay, 2030 was the milestone of our population, if you can remember. Okay, if you can remember, the milestone that we have, right, is 6.9 million of population. And of course, the scholars have done their work. They have run their analysis to make sure that we need this kind of population to continue to become a powerhouse in Asia. And if you calculate just based on the year-on-year growth of 3.4%, right? Okay, just take out a calculator and count it. Basically, in the next 6 years, or now it's 2023, in the next 6 years by 2029, right? Technically, our 6.9 million population will hit already. Okay, it will hit already. So the question is, then where are the people coming from? Since we are not giving birth fast enough, our aging population is very real. Okay, the ratio, you can see the ratio in, you see the ratio for 3.8%. So if we are not giving birth, we don't have the population, aging population is reducing the population, where can the government turn to? Where can they convert? So one of the direction is definitely to what? Convert from foreigners to PR. And then from PR, those who have set up their base, they have a property in Singapore, they have children here, they will also convert the PRs to Singaporean. Does it make sense or not, my friend? Now that I shared this with you, does it make sense? All right, type in 2 inside if it makes sense to you, because that's the only way that we are able to hit the 6.9 million, my friend. We cannot suddenly plant a seed and then the humans come out, right? So there must be a way to do conversions. So this is definitely one of the biggest population for the next 7 years, right? That today, for born and bred Singaporeans like us, okay, you must know where the opportunities are for you to grab before we are being overtaken by others. To be real lah, to be very real lah. Even if today you are a PR, you still want to take the action, because if there are more foreigners being converted to PR, do you agree that the government may also increase the PR ABSD from 5% perhaps to even 10%, if the numbers are crazy? See, so that is why we are always looking much, much ahead in terms of what the government is trying to achieve. And then we work backwards and see how can this help us and create more opportunity. Because the numbers are for ABSD, of course, this one, I mean, I can just share with you the history, okay? History. That's why you must always understand the history before you decide what you want to do. So this is not the first time. This is not the first time cooling measures has come. So then who are the winners and losers in today's marketplace? Let me share with you. Okay, the winners are definitely the first homeowners. First time, no issue. Singapore and PR, no issue. Even for PR, 5% is marginable. And on the contrast, for the last many years, PR amount for ABSD has not changed. Okay, it's not a good thing, because has not changed means it's time to change. Does it make sense? Right. So if today you are here and you are PR, I want you to really, really make a decision on how should you enter the market, even with this 5%. Because I'll be very clear, it will definitely be increased in time to come. Okay, right now they're still making no changes for Singaporeans and PR. So you have a window opportunity to access and look into property. And even though the last year's cooling measures, we do see more PRs coming back into the marketplace, because they realize if there's a change, they could be affected. So many of them are taking the first mover advantage to enter the market. Okay. Of course, for developers with mass market projects, the mass market we are talking about, OCR, may be affected, will not be affected, because the appeal for Singaporeans and PR generally are still in the mass market properties. Okay. Commercial properties has no impact because of this ABSD, totally no issue. But who are the losers in this? Okay, definitely foreigners and investors. Okay, trust, family, office, institution are also being slapped with the ABSDs. Okay, developers with ultra lux. That's why I never advise clients to buy ultra lux property, because your target group of purchasers is very, very small. Okay, it's very small. You can buy. Buy is easy. Sell is difficult. All right, so ultra lux will definitely be impacted with the 60% ABSD. And those residential en bloc in the CCR could be also slowed down, because developers are also running a business, right? They will see that, hey, for me to buy into CCR, do I have the customers to buy? So this is very important. So to give you a quick summary of the numbers, you can just take a screenshot if you want, just to share with you how the change in terms of numbers are going to be. So I'm not going to touch too much of this. Okay, so I also want to, for those who are HDB homeowners here, just want to share with you a little bit in terms of your HDB market. Although the last cooling measures has no direct impact on HDB market, but the previous one in 2022 impacted quite a fair bit. Okay, but at the moment, we are still experiencing a good sum of in a high peak period, which is higher than the last peak. So the question you must ask yourself as a HDB homeowners today is, today, I'm already seeing the highest point in terms of property prices. Usually when you're at the highest point, what will come next? Okay, remember public HDB is a public housing. There's definitely ways for government to what? Control the pricing to make sure that not all HDBs become $1 million. Okay, and also because of various cooling measures, we are also seeing that the numbers are coming down. Okay, in terms of the resale flat volume. So when the numbers coming down, this is also important to you. Okay, very, very important to you. So I want to ask every one of you here, right? If today I ask you to think back what happened in 2018 and 2019, how many of you can very confidently tell me what happened in 2018 and 2019? Okay, share with me inside the chat. All right, share with me inside the chat. Okay, so 2018, what happened? Cooling measures happened. Okay, 2018 was one of the other cooling measures also came in, and 2019 was the time where interest rate, 2018 to 2019 was the time where interest rate was the highest. Okay, it went up at as high as 3.2%. So why do I want to bring you back into the time of 2018? Because this is what is happening. Okay, 2019 to 2023 has not happened yet, so we don't know. But in 2018, 2019, actually the price index is the highest. Okay, highest recorded. Same thing like what is happening right now. Okay, same thing is what is happening right now. So if you look at the price index, right, you can see it is hovering at 7.9%, the highest among the others. And that is the reason why they also came in to curb based on certain measures. So during 2018, not only just the property prices went up, the trade wars was going on between the US as well as the China. That's why our economy was not so good. It actually came down because of the trade wars situation. All right, so always understand every other year there's something happening actually in the global situation, whether it's the war, whether it's the Ukraine war, the oil situation, trade war situation. So there's a lot of all this actually every other year, okay, in terms of the global financial situation. But the question I want you to ask yourself is, has any one of all these major, okay, worldwide news impacted Singapore property market? Okay, I want you to ask yourself that. Okay, have you seen major adjustment because of all these things going on? All right, the biggest that has happened was back in 2009, 2008, because of financial crisis, then dot-com burst, then the global financial crisis, right? So the question is, all these are back before in 2013. I show you, all right, before. But after, even with all the trade wars, all these things going on, Ukraine war, COVID, the all these arrangements going on, has Singapore property Brexit, has Singapore property market adjusted downwards? So during 2018 period, we are also experiencing the highest interest rate. So it went up as high as 3.2% in the past, okay, for your interest rate. But we all now panic. Wow, now the interest rate went up 4%, very scared. But actually, it also went up very high before, because we don't know what happened after 2018, right, and 2019. But it actually went on very high before. So today, if let's say you are back in 2018, when you see all these situations, prices high, trade wars, interest rate going on, what will you do for property? Will you stop doing, you don't want to buy property, or you don't want to sell property during that? Okay, ask yourself. Ask yourself. Because during that time, the inflation was also very high. Okay, we did not experience high inflation. We always has been experiencing high inflation, high interest rate one. Okay, so now looking at back, you can see our interest rate, our inflation is actually one of the highest during that period. Okay, over the last 7-8 years. And then why is it that with everything so high, actually Singaporeans won't buy property ma? Because all also worried, right? Wow, high price, like high interest, we don't buy. But then why the government still coming cooling measures? Have you ever asked yourself why in a not so good environment, not so good economy, government still slept with ABSD? Because ever since 2013, the demand for property is very high. There is a lot of liquidity. There's a lot of equity that people can buy properties. And that's why government step in first to cool it down. All right. So how many of you, if let's say I ask you to go back to 2018, if I ask you to buy property with all these things going on, will you buy? Type in yes or no in the answer. In the chat. No right or wrong answer, don't worry. All right. Will you buy a property because of all these high interest rates, prices high, trade wars going on, inflation so high? Will you buy or will you not buy? Type in yes or no. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong. But now looking back, and then now you see the current time. Should you have bought something? Should you have bought something or not? Because you never know what's the future, right? But then the question is, later on we will study trends and I tell you why now is the same opportunity that you must grab. And then those are during 2018, 2019 who took our advice. What happened? Later on, I will share with you what happened exactly. So are all these things that I share with you now in the past of 2018, 2019, is it familiar? Is it familiar to you? So I can share with you now there's a window of opportunity. There's a huge window of opportunity because every crisis, there's always opportunity. All right. So most people will say, well, high interest, economy not so good, got cooling measures. It's very common. We must accept the fact that cooling measures are supposed to be common. It's supposed to be there. Then that's why you need to look at data and numbers, ma. So just now we were asking, right, how can the 10+% being affected with these cooling measures affect the 80+%? How badly will it affect the foreigners that it will impacted Singaporeans and PRs in terms of property market? In general market, no, it will not. That's why today you have a very unique opportunity of first mover advantage that I want to share with you. Okay. So the question is, will price drop? Who has the upper hand right now? So today, right, if you are a resale owner, right, and then you own one property versus a developer that you own many property, who is more scared? Okay, who is more scared to sell their property? The resale owner or the developers? So understand, my friend, this is not the financial crisis. Okay, this is not financial crisis. Okay, that's why developers, will they sell their prices crash their prices, fire sale, everything? Of course it won't. Okay, if you're looking out for huge discount, I personally don't see it happening. Why? Because first of all, developers, they have their costs. They have their land costs, their construction costs. Definitely they cannot sell below those. So they can make lesser profits, definitely. That's why now is an opportunity for properties, right? That developers have many units, right? That what you want to do, they can be very sensitive in their pricing, which is your opportunity right now. Your opportunity right now is to sniff out, using data, using research, analyze which property that you can go and purchase right now. Because none of them, how many of you, if let's say today you are a developer with all these things coming in, chances are you will not increase your prices crazily like last time. You will increase a little bit, but not crazy. You will not give discount because you have your bottom line to take note of. So that's why this is your advantage, my friend. If you can see today, if let's say you're a resale owner and you only have one unit, with all these things happening, chances are you also say, I don't sell lah. So when you don't sell a property, what happened to your supply in the marketplace? Your supply drops. Your supply drops. That's why whenever there's a cooling measure in 2018, right, this is what happened. Okay, when 2018 cooling measures came, Whistler Grand only sold 150 units out of 716. Okay, out of 716 units in total. They only sold 150 because of what? Cooling measures. So those who bought during Whistler Grand, let me share with you, their per square foot, you can see is 2018, 2019, right? It's hovering about 1,200 to 1,200 plus, 1,200 plus per square foot. This was after the new cooling measures was announced. Then what happened? Prices were staged up. Because why? Developers have a minimum of 5 years to sell. When the crisis over that 1 year cooling measures, everybody get used to it. They come back into the marketplace, prices adjusted. Okay, prices adjusted in terms of the 2001 and 2002. You can see the prices increases. Prices increases. So this is why time is our biggest best friend. If you can work out your property plans based on data numbers and use time as advantage, you can be like a Whistler Grand owner. Why? Because they make easily this kind of profit, even though they bought just after the cooling measures. That's why I said there is an opportunity right now. Okay, when the market is unstable, there will always be opportunity. The question is, even can you see the opportunity? Do you have somebody to guide you on finding this opportunity so that you can also be like one of the Whistler Grand owner to make 300,000, 500,000, in terms of capital gain, while the market is actually very unstable? Does it make sense? See, so even with high interest rate environment, high price, cooling measures, trade wars, can you see how much profit they make when they are selling right now? Same situation during this period when they introduced the cooling measures, 2018. So when 2018 cooling measures during that time, another property, Florence Residences, only captured 54 units out of 1,410, my friend. Only 3.8%. So I tell you, this one is a joke. A lot of people say, how come so low? It's a joke. So was the sentiment dampened? Of course. Are buyers fearful to enter? Yes, of course. We cannot deny the fact that all these things are happening. But those who really study the market, those who really study data and numbers like us, we know how to capture opportunities. And that's why during that period when they launch, you can see it's only 2002 to 2003. That is back in 2019. But then what happened 1 year later to 2 years? The prices went up, 2007 to 2008. How much will the Florence Residences, if you are a Florence Residences, you bought it at the first batch, right? You are making easily 300 over 1,000, my friend. So will cooling measures actually impact the market so much that you cannot make profits? You must always understand, even with cooling measures, prices continue to go up. The question is, are you taking action? Are you taking on what's next? Even for Sterling Residences, you see, 2018, they launched about 1,900 plus per square foot. Now, they already went up 2,000 plus per square foot. So property market continue to go up. And the owners, they make easily 100, 200, 400. Very, very common. Very, very common. That is also a reason why when we were advising our client, right, back in 2018, we used the REI method to guide them on understanding the market, go through the process. They were also having all these concerns during then. Nothing wrong, because that's what humans always do. We are very fearful of certain things when certain happen. It's very common. But our role is to guide you on the different perspective of things so you can make a better decision for you and your family in terms of your lifestyle. So they have all these concerns, and this was back in 2018. And then we go through multiple rounds of our REI method. We go through the consultation, we show data, we go through their finances to make sure that it's safe for them to enter. Will they still have questions, doubts, and worries? Definitely. That's why we bridge the gap here. We bridge the gap of their knowledge, the resources. We provide them all this information to make a better decision. And they went on to purchase a property during 2018 at $1,377 per square foot in the RCR zone, very near to town. And the last we checked in 2022, the prices went up $1,781 already. And because they bought a 4-bedroom unit, okay, the bigger, the more margin that you make, they already make more than $500,000 in just 4 years, my friend. How long will it take for us to save up $500,000? How long will it take? Can we save up $500,000 in 4 years? We ask ourselves. But for them, because they trusted the process, they trusted with the knowledge, the data to guide them in the direction that they're going for, they now pocket $500,000 for free because of the right property, because of the right timing, and because of the right advice. Because when the time when this happens, you all will say, crazy lah, all these people, crazy, right? Crazy lah. Now, if I ask you go and queue, also cannot lah, because they always announce the news very last minute, right? So now cannot do anything. But then those who are crazy enough to do this, who bought property even with cooling measures, even with higher interest rate, even with higher pricing, and even with trade wars going on, all the economy situations that is not so good, not so vibrant, who took action and crazy enough, did they laugh to the bank? Let me ask you now that you know this. So now we are facing the same situation. Cooling measures came out. Blossom was the first project that was launched after the cooling measures came out, and they sold more than 70%. More than 70% of the units. Blossoms. Average per square foot, $2,400 to $2,500 per square foot. People buy. Will they gain? Are they fearful? If you ask me, definitely everybody will be fearful. But the question is, property is not a short-term thing. You must buy and then you hold it. Will this be forever? The moment when people get used to it, prices will continue to go up, as what we have seen from the various data points. Condominium already sold almost 30% at $2,700 per square foot for a freehold property in the East. Very good price. Very good price. And why are these people, do you agree that all these people who buy, do you think they don't know what is happening in the marketplace? They are in their own cave. They don't know the interest rate is high. They don't know the prices is high. They don't know economy is not so good. You think they don't know? The question is, why did they take this action? Why did they make this decision? Because let me share with you, this is the latest updates. There are signs that the interest rate hikes already are slowing down, even now. Okay, now the banks are already giving very good fixed rates. Okay, and why do they do that? Because they already know the same time this next year, prices for interest rate will come down already. And next year will fall even quicker, I can tell you. But by the time when you wait until the interest rate comes down, what will happen? What usually happens when interest rate comes down for property? What happens usually? Come on, share your answer in the chat. What happened when interest rate comes down in the property market? All right, people will rush to buy because everybody starts saying, hey, the interest rate is so low, I should just go in and buy. And also the government understand this. That's why they want to slap the cooling measures first law to prevent and stabilize this a little bit. And I'm not against another cooling measure coming up. I can tell you, if this continues for the next 6 to 8 months and with interest rate next year coming down, I'm sure government will come in another ABSD, another cooling measures. Don't know what yet. I also don't know. Maybe it has something to do with our LTV. Okay, our loan to value. That means we have the more down payment. Okay, it might happen. Why? Because everybody knows when interest rate comes down, people will go and buy. But the question is, can you always time the low? Okay, cannot. All right, so our role is to what? Enter the market and then what? Wait for the market swing up so that we can capitalize on that. Does it make sense? All right, so that's why a lot of data points that we're looking at. And over the years, right, interest rate actually went up only 4 times. Okay, 2007, 2013, 2019, 2023. That's all. And every time it goes up, how fast does it come down? This is what you must know lah. Oh, this time round, the interest rate gradually increased too many times, but it's in a very sharp, steep situation, very steep. Okay, previously are always more gradual over the years, but this time round, because of what happened in US, they need to quickly curb their inflation situation, right? That's why they spiked it up very, very quickly. And of course, Singapore is being affected because of that. But what goes up fast will also come down fast, lah, my friend. Okay, will also come down very fast. So usually from past situation, you can see it all came down within 1 year. Okay, all within 1 year. So the question is now today, if you have an opportunity to enter the market, yes, I agree. Right now, until next year, perhaps you are still paying a little bit higher. But will this 1 year pan out so that the next 3-4 years, you're enjoying a lower interest rate and you get to choose the right property, you get to choose the right unit right now and enter it at a lower price, my friend. So that is why we are able to do all this. And also signs that the inflation is also coming down. Okay, so whenever interest rates comes down, right, I can tell you prices goes up. You can see lower interest rate, what happened to prices? Prices goes up, you see. So this is fundamental economics, my friend. All right, many a times is we chose not to believe this. We chose that the market will crash. Unfortunately, if you keep thinking this way by not looking at data numbers, you will always miss the opportunity. You'll always miss the boat. And that's why I'm giving you guys tough love. I'm really telling you guys now, if you really want to pocket another 300,000, 500,000 over the next 3-5 years down the road, now is your window opportunity that you must really start looking into this and see how we can help you in terms of your entering into the market. All right, so I'm 100% supportive of cooling measures whenever, if you ask me, I'm 100%, because it prevents the prices to overheat and we don't have a chance to buy property. Right, so now it opens up a window opportunity for you that you and me were still able to talk about property. See, can you imagine if no cooling measures? Well, what happened? If you don't have this, the prices goes up. I don't know how high already. Right? So we have no chances to take. But the question is, the 80% during cooling measures usually don't take action. Only about 20% or maybe less than that take action. Very, very common. Many don't take action because of fear or uncertainty. Doesn't matter. That's why those who really look at data, look at from a different perspective, we have more opportunities right now. And you want to do it with what? Real estate statistics, my friend. You don't guess yourself. Okay, you want to use real estate statistics to decide on whether you should enter the market or not enter the market. So this is what we do for our own property. And I want to bring you back in time. And this is a real case studies on our own property. So back in 2018, everybody was complaining about high interest rate, high pricing. We went on to purchase a property 2018. Okay, during that time, economy was not so good. There was a lot of noises out there. The trade wars was going on. But we used data to guide us to purchase this 2-bedroom unit at 1.059 million. Okay, do we know what is happening in the market? Of course, for the future, nobody can 100% predict. But we understand the fundamentals. We understand our foundation. That today, when you buy a property, you must have the ability to hold it. Okay, you must have. If you don't have, don't buy. You are speculating. No point. So what happened? 2022. Okay, 2022, we sold this property September 16. At how much? 1.28 million. Okay, so 2018 time, if you don't buy because you find that the price is too high, you want to wait for the price to come down, then you miss out this kind of opportunity. All right, then what happened? So we made about 250,000, right, in just 4 years. Okay, this is a small unit, so the margin is always 200, 300 over 1,000. So very common. So today is, if let's say you bought into because of cooling measures, you follow data points, you study your trends. 2018, you may say, Edmund, cannot, very stressful. Wow, market not so good. Let me wait for it to come down. Then you wait. Then what happened later? 2020, COVID came. So you again will tell yourself, hey, Edmund, now COVID, wow, very dangerous. Don't know how long it will recover. I think prices will come down. I think let me wait some more. How many of you truthfully also wanted to do this, but because of all these uncertainties, it prevents you from doing it? You can be very truthful here. Like I say, nobody here is to judge you. We just want to understand, how you're thinking and how we can guide you to get more clarity in the property market. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be worried. Even COVID time, everybody is worried, of course, because we don't know what this is. This is the first time. We don't know how long it will recover, but we just want to make sure that things are done properly. You see? So if you don't have the resources, you don't have the knowledge, you will keep missing opportunities. Agree or not? You see? So did I just also show you that regardless of market conditions, the properties are actually people make money on it. They actually make profits on it. So is it really because of up market to buy property to make money? No. Today you want to make and grow your profits, build your capital, but up market you also make. Down market you also can make. Then that is what we call predictable, and you're not guessing yourself. Right, so 2020 COVID period, we went on to purchase another property. This time around, also another 2-bedroom. Okay, and we keep it at 1.15 million this time around. So you may be asking, Edmund, wow, you COVID buy property, you sell. 2018, somebody called us crazy. 2020, somebody also called us crazy. But we understand our fundamentals very well. We bought into this property at 1.151 million. Right now, a smaller size unit at 2022 can sell for 1.428 million. Okay, same floor, 14th floor. So if I want to sell at 1.4 million, am I already making profit? Let me ask you, am I already making profit? So that is why I want to share with every one of you here. Today, if you are guessing your way, you are fearful, it's very common. You are fearful, you are worried about uncertainty. But there's a lot of fundamentals we must guide you so that you don't miss opportunities like this, my friend. Okay, so that's why you must do your research, you must do your data, you must use your numbers. Like what I'm showing you is exactly what we are doing. Whatever we are doing in our REI method, it's not only our clients use it, we ourselves are doing it for our own investments as well. So much so that 2018, we sold off the property. All right, so we sold it off in 2022. We made 250,000. We went on to take those profits to buy another property just recently. Okay, just recently, 2023. We just went on to buy. Okay, we just went on to buy. You can hear from here. Okay, let's see a quick one live. yeah, exactly.
26205, ready to book. Unit number 0546. Price 2.880. Can we confirm?
For discount. All right, please proceed.
Congrats to Cindior and Edmunds! Rock next! 0546 so! What up? Cindior and Edmunds, this year they will work harder to earn more.
Okay, I'm not here to howl in. I'm not here to boast. It's just that I'm sharing with you a systematic way of doing. So we bought a property at 1.05 million. Okay, we exit the price at 1.28 million. And using the capital, the profits, we accumulate that to move forward to a 2.9 million in just a short 5 years. So can you see your asset growing from a 1 million to 3 million in just a short 5 years? So I'm showing you is to show you that it can be done. But we all have to start somewhere. We all have to start from a small property and then we grow. We did not immediately go to a 3 million or 5 million property. We also start with just 1 million and slowly build this capital bit by bit over time. So we all need to start from somewhere. The question is, are you ready for your next step? Are you ready for your next step? So the clients that who follow us right back in 2018 and 2019 also went on to do the same thing. So this property, you can see they bought at 1.16 million, okay? And they recently just sold at 1.4 million, okay? So they also make about 200 over thousand in terms of profit. So what did they do? They also follow the exact steps that we teach them in terms of fundamentals because they have done this with us before. Now they are more confident. So with these profits, right, and the capital they do, right, in 2019, they sold this, 2019 they bought, 2023 they sold, and then they immediately went on to buy a what? 1.383 million property. Do you see where I'm coming from? From a 1 million property, they went on to buy a 1.38 million in the same period after they sold. So that they reinvest their money out to buy a better property, a better location. So they went on to buy this property. Now they move to a core area of properties to purchase. So another client also recently bought this property with us. Also, we guided them in 2019 and bought this property at 1.256 million. 1.256 million. And recently just sold for how much? 1.43 million. Just. And why do we exit? Can we keep this property longer to make more, actually? So she made about 194,000. Right? Can she continue to hold that property for more? Yes. But when she understands the fact, when we shared with her, she realized there's also another big opportunity right now. So she wants to cash out so that she can go and buy a bigger property. And with this cash proceed, this is what we calculated for her. Okay, after selling everything, the CPF all goes back to her. Your cash proceeds after deducting all the legal fees and agent fee. She would have 243,000 of cash comes back, cash proceeds. She has her own 200,000 savings, which means her total funds is 783,000 just because of this $1 million property that she bought previously. Okay? And because of her age and everything, we want to make sure that she has the ability to loan. She has the opportunity right now. The opportunities are out there. We realized that for her property, she can purchase a 1.86 million right now based on the funds, based on her capability. So can you imagine from a 1.2 million property now goes up to 1.8 million because of the capability. So if she want to, do it a little bit better, right? She can even based on this, based on her amount, it's so safe, right, that we calculated for her that she can still purchase a 2.2 million. So from 1.2 million, now it jumped 1 more million. And she still have cash balance of 31,000 at the end of the day. Previous example, she will left at least a 250,000 for backup. So at 1.8 million, she can buy, and she have a 250,000 for safety net. If she wants to buy a bigger, better property, perhaps she can buy a 2.2 million. And yet we did not exhaust all her funds. Our role is to help you use less money to buy property, to help you save money at the same time. And through the research, we guide our clients who trusted us to work with us very, very closely. How many of you agree that this is very important? How many of you agree that this is very important? And the major question everybody asking me, will price drop? Okay, will price drop? Okay, let me share with you quickly from a data perspective, right? What we are seeing in terms of the market. Resale volume definitely dropped. Okay, why? Because a lot of people want to buy, but there's no supply to buy. Okay, so let me ask every one of you here, even if you have thoughts about selling your property, looking at the climate right now, you also don't want to sell your property lah, because the replacement cost is very high. I sell already, I buy the next property very high leh. So you choose not to sell. So then if you don't sell, your neighbor don't sell, everybody stops, don't sell, what will happen to supply? Supply will come down. So when supply comes down, what happened to prices, my friend? Basic economics. When supply comes down, what happened to prices? Prices goes up lah. Oh, that's why you're experiencing high prices in the resale market as well, because the HDB and the private market, there's a lack of supply for people to buy. Even the new launches are not enough. So that's why people are paying top dollars. And if you are a seller, now is your opportunity to cash out at the highest point in time. Okay, because by the next year or so, I will believe, okay, my data shows that the prices will cool down a lot more and you will lose the opportunity to sell it at a peak. Okay, definitely. Because our current stocks are very little. Okay, averagely, we should having over about 36,000 in 2009, 2020. You can see it's all hovering over 20 plus, over 1,000. And right now, we only left with about 16,000 or so. Very, very little supply. Okay, if you break it out into the different zones, it's even more scary. Or CCR one will take up rate about what, 2 years. You know, RCR 1 year plus finish already, the supply. And for OCR is worse. That's why OCR prices keep going up, because there's a lack of supply. And when there's a lack of supply, what happens? Government have to release more land and en blocks have to happen. But unfortunately, en blocks are not happening because developers are also very concerned. What should they bid for high price? What if people cannot buy? So there's always all these noises going on, you know, in terms of the property market. That's why en block cycles usually, if it comes back, okay, prices usually goes up. Okay, always goes up. And you can see from this data, right? When during the en block fever, when everything goes up, when the volume goes up, prices also goes up. And when there's a low supply, okay, in terms of en block, prices goes up. There's a lack of supply in terms of the en block situation. And this has direct impact with our overall prices, because you can see, all right, when there's a low inventory, prices generally still goes up in trends, right? So this is for the new price property. It continued to go up even with the various cooling measures. Prices went upswing. This is for new launch properties. Resale, a little bit more different because it's a little bit more slower because of the resale situation. So that's why today, if you are looking at price point, you must understand that today, no matter what, overall prices are still going up. And for the HDB homeowners here, I want to share with you, today you are already at the peak of the market. Okay, for you to cash out from here to enter the market so that you can wait for the interest rate to come down, it's a very real situation and opportunity. What you want to do is to swap your asset to a private property and let the market move up by itself, because this potentially is your only chance to look into it. For the fellow private homeowners, right now, you are also enjoying a peak in terms of the prices, especially if you are looking at EC. If you already own an EC, now is a good time for you to explore the possibilities of perhaps you want to keep your EC and buy another one, or offload your EC to re-enter the market, because the market will move by itself, okay, following the interest rate coming down. All right, so many of us may want to choose to just continue keeping lah. You know, whether the market goes up or down, it doesn't matter. But like I say, if you know what's next, if you want to grab opportunities to cash out additional 300, 500,000 so that you can have a better lifestyle for your family, today is a good opportunity, because we are seeing exactly the same thing play out in 2018 and 2019. And we are now doing it. That's why we are so confident that even with all these things going on, we went on to purchase a big ticket. And it's not a small figure, it's a $3 million property. We went on to do it ourselves. If we know how to do it safely, do you think I'm not worried? Of course I'm worried, but because the data and the guidelines guided us to be safe, and we know what we are doing. All right, so we have done this with so many couples, so many families out there, using data and numbers to guide them. And because of the fear of lack of understanding, you may not be able to make a decision based on yourself. So for HDB owners, I also want to share with you this one. Now that the market has peaked, that is the reason why government come in with a lot of supply. And when there's a lot more BTO supply, okay, 150, not 150 units, we're talking about 150 concurrent BTO projects ongoing for the next 2 to 3 years. What will happen to your pricing? Will you be able to manage this high price right now? That's why you have this very small window opportunity to switch your property to the next one to continue growing your property. How many of you find that today's session is very useful? Today's session is very useful. Type in yes inside the chat. Type in yes inside the chat. All right. Type in yes inside the chat. All right. So I also want to take this chance, right, really to kind of share with you guys a little bit more. Like today, how many of you who is here, right, would love to have some help in building your own personalized property plan through what we have shared with you, how to enter the market safely, how to exit it safely, and most importantly is how can you capture the opportunity right now? All right, you are able to use all the resources you need in shorter time. You're able to, based on research data and numbers, to buy the right property. All right, I want you guys to type in yes inside the chat so that you can make an informed decision. Because what I'm going to do next, right, is I just want to spend 5 minutes just to share with you guys how you all can work with us and be like them to become your own success story. Okay, I'm just going to take very quick 5 minutes to see how you can work with us on a more personal basis. Okay, and these groups of clienteles and families, basically we use the REI method to guide them in their property journey. And I want to basically invite you in, and my team on your $1 million one-on-one personalized consult. All right, so this is not for everyone, okay? Not for everyone. If you want to align yourself to get more clarity, to really need and seek help in property, this is a chance for you to work with us on a one-on-one basis. This is not a class, this is not a workshop. Okay, this is a very one-on-one deep dive into your property situation, your property performance, and how we can help you do it. Okay, so let me just briefly share with you what are the different things that's going to happen, so that if you find that this is something you've been looking out for and you want to work with us on a more personal basis, later on I will share a link out. You can reach it out to us and we see how we can help you. All right, the step one is later on I will drop out a link. Okay, and this link there will be a few questions for you to fill up to kind of assess yourself in terms of your property situation. All right, so the more information you give me, the more better I can access and I can see whether are we a good match to help you in your property journey, and the value itself will be $2,000. And next, after we receive your application, all right, you will get on a call with me personally. All right, and this call is for me to understand a little bit better and more clarity about your current situation and what you can do. Are there solutions that we can help you with? All right, how can I guide you into this process? How long should the time be? So this is where I will get on the call, and this is the only time where you can get on the call with me personally to really talk to me and ask me questions about property. And I'm going to give you a bonus, not give you the 5,000, okay? The value of the call is easily $5,000, but we are going to give you a bonus on the call with me so that it can also help you in your property research and property search in future. All right, only those who get on the call with me. And once you're getting on the call with me and we find that, hey, we are a good match, there's a value that I can add on to you, I can help you in your property plans, then we will start the full consultation route. Okay, the first step is always to review what's your plan, what's your objective, what's the timeline that we're going to go for. And me and my team, we will help you get the clarity. Okay, perhaps you may be thinking, hey, maybe I should upgrade. I don't know whether should I upgrade or not. You see, there's a lot of all this confusion. So my role is to guide you step by step to even understand what do you actually want in your property before we move on. A session like this will easily cost you at least about $3,000 in terms of value. And what we do is we go through a lot of data and numbers. Okay, we will go through the different scenarios. We will run through your DTSR, even let's say your husband and wife, or let's say your boyfriend, girlfriend situation. We will run through a lot of data and numbers to ensure that, hey, you're safe. All right, so like Susanna, same thing when she bought her first property, she also want to reevaluate what kind of options she wants. That's why she reached out in terms of the knowledge and insights that we can potentially guide them in their property journey in the coming years. All right, so it's not only just one session. We have several sessions using the REI method. So we cover quite a lot of grounds, and they realized actually they wanted to look for something long-term. Then they realized actually their plan is for a shorter term. So this is the kind of clarity you will get by seeing from a different perspective from us that we can share with you. Hey, perhaps whatever you're thinking of option 1, maybe there's still option 2, option 3, option 4 that you can discuss about and see which one suits you more. And that's where that's where they also understand the mechanics of the market, future outlook, and they feel more what? Confident and secure. That's why this is very important. For our role is really to help you save money at the same time. Don't make a wrong decision, make an informed decision so you can be very confident into entering the market, like how we have done ourselves and how we have guided our clients to do it again and again and again to build their capital up to even 1 million for retirement. So after that, we will go on to evaluate your current property situation. Perhaps you have your property performance. We will double check and see, okay, has it been growing? Has it been stagnant? How is it like? Okay, how is it like? So when we evaluate your property assets, we also need to run through your finances. You know, in the event if you sell your property, do you have enough to buy the next property or not? What is the next plan? Is it from a HDB to a condo? Or is it from an EC, you intending to buy another one? Or if let's say a private property, perhaps you're thinking maybe you want to consolidate your funds to buy a bigger and a better location. So an evaluation like this will easily worth $9,000 because we run through a lot of different plans with you. Okay, it's not just about the numbers. We will come up with different scenarios, and then we discuss together what are the best scenarios for you and your family moving forward into this property. Okay, so we will run through different scenarios. If let's say 2 person buy one together, how is it? If let's say one each, is it going to be too taxing on your monthly mortgage? You know, do you have the ability to pay? We even want to work out your monthly cash flow. Do you, from your CPF, how much cash flow do you need to use? And also the reserve funds. Can we do a reserve funds of how much that even if the day that you are not working, you can continue to pay this property? So these are the very in-depth things that we do to get you guys on board, to have a very safe and confident journey in property. Okay. So of course, the last step, once we have identified everything of your clarity, your numbers, that's where we will identify the correct property for execution. So this is where, like our clients, they sell, we immediately go through the identifying session, and we go through and discuss which property should we go for. Okay, because time is also of money. We don't want to lose much opportunity, and that's why now is a window opportunity for you to see whether do you want to decide on what's next for your own plan. And identify the right property is so important, I cannot stress. Because if you make a wrong decision in your property decision, okay, if you make a wrong decision, you could end up losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands. I can always be sure. There are so many that we have gone through before. We saw losing 250,000 for negative sale, 100,000 negative sale. It all because they did not identify the right property. And a session like this easily valued 15,000. So let me share with you, like for Rachel, you know, she was very confused. The more she read about information out there, the more confused she gets and the more scared she is to make the wrong move. All right, so is it very, very common? You're not the only one. It's very, very common. All right, a lot of us, when we start seeing, we thought that we can do it ourselves. But the more you read, the more worried it becomes, because there's so many different opinions. You hear from your friends, you go online, and then you're confused, then you're scared, don't want to do. And when you don't do, what happened? You delay, then you got busy, then you forgot about it, you see. So that's why we always go through multiple sessions to discuss the possible routes, okay? And then based on their objective, to basically back up by stats, trends of data. So this is what we do best, to do the research, so that you no need to do it. We bridge your knowledge gap, we bridge your resources to help you make a decision. Okay, so this is where you identify the correct property to purchase. Very, very important. And of course, we don't only just help you in terms of a property. We also want you access into our entire back-end support teams. We're talking about lawyers, we're talking about bankers, interior designers, handyman, everything that you want to have a very professionally done resources, you will have access to them as well, because they have worked with us for many, many years. They are very trustworthy. We know they don't anyhow charge their fees. They are properly done. So this can save you a lot of unnecessary risk of going to the wrong person and they screw up your transactions. And this one easily worth close to $5,000. So our role here, our business here is not a short term. Okay, we are not here to do a transactional one. We are here to do a relational one, which is why our clients will keep coming back to us to redo their portfolios, to recalibrate what has happened, because we will regularly review your current property situation. So after you go through with us, really, let's say perhaps you go and buy a property, perhaps the next 3 to 5 years, what we will do is we will sit down again, we will review what has happened. Perhaps your income has increased. Perhaps your level of lifestyle you want it to be better. Perhaps you suddenly have another 1 or 2 or 3 kids more. Maybe the size that you previously purchased is already not enough. We need to make adjustment based on that. That's why every other 3 to 4, 5 years, we will come back to you to review what is going on with your property. We will update you, hey, your property actually has already increased, it's performing very well. If we unlock the money out, this is what you can do. So we will do this very regularly for every single one of you who come on board with us, easily worth $2,000. All right. So that's why to do this personalized consult is we are working together. Okay. It's not just you on self. We are going to work together. I'm going to provide you all the resources. I'm going to provide you all the data, numbers, and the guidance to get you to where you want to be in the next 3, 5, 10 years down the road. What's the objective you want to do? Oh, perhaps, Edmund, I want to grow my profits about 200,000 to 300,000. How can I do it? So this is why we are using all the tools to help you with it. That's why the entire value of this entire consultation is easily worth at least $70,000. $70,000. What is $70,000 to avoid the mistake of making hundreds of $1,000s? Correct. So 70,000, yes, it's a lot of money, but can you imagine not spending this money and then you lose 100 over 1,000, 200 over 1,000 in your property journey? And most importantly, losing out on the opportunity out there that potentially can yield you the 1 million in even a short 10 to 15 years down the road. So let me just recap what you'll be getting in this personalized consult. All right, the mentoring, of course, in our community, we will continue to support you with events, resources, and strategies and teaching. The onboarding is the first thing. Later on, I will drop a link inside the chat. Okay, my team will drop a link inside the chat. You want to fill out all the information. All right, so the more you provide me, the better I can understand whether we can help you or not. And once you're being selected, we'll get on a one-on-one strategy call. That's where I can clarify more things with you. And if we find that we are a good match to go, there's resources that we can provide you, there's solutions that we can get you to where you want. That's where we will starting the REI method to review your plan. We will evaluate your assets, your current property performance, your finances. Are you overstretching? Is it too risky? We will analyze all this in the evaluation stage before we eventually identify the right property to purchase. And along with this, you will have my entire full back-end support as well as our regular review of your property. So how many of you agree that this is actually very comprehensive and requires a lot of time to actually just go through with one family? All right. So how many of you agree? If you agree, just type in yes inside the chat. Just type in yes inside the chat. Because what you want to do to get started, right, is basically just to scan the QR code. Okay. Or you can type, okay, you can click on the link inside the chat. Okay. Click the link inside the chat. Okay. Click the link inside the chat. You will come out a list of questions, or you can scan the QR code. All right. But because our consultation is very intensive, there's a lot of multiple sessions that we go through. We're spending hours, more than easily 10, 15 hours of our attention time on you. That's why there's also certain limitation. Okay, in order to have attention on every single one of you, we only limit 7 new families every week. Only 7. And it's first come, first serve basis. All right, so the link is already inside the chat. You can scan the QR code. All right, so the key thing is that the first 7 who come in with all your information, right, we will address them one by one to see whether are we a good match, that we can help you or not. And for those who fall under the after 7, if anybody that we feel is not fitted to actually go through this consultation, you will be coming in to replace instead. All right, but we want to make sure that we have time for everybody. That's why we only limit 7 new families every single week, because we want to spend time understanding you. You know, we're not here to just play a $10 consultation. And this is, we're talking about millions of dollars and potentially can help you to build your $1 million retirement funds. We want to take this very seriously. And that's the reason why we limit 7 new families every other week. Okay, let me recap. This is what you'll be getting. All right, besides being in our community where you continue to learn, all right, we will do on onboarding. The link is already inside the chat. You can just click on it. There's a series of questions you want to answer. You want to fill it up. Okay, very important. Next, once you are being selected, you will get on a strategy call with me so that I can further understand more about your current situation and what is the objective you want to hit to. Before that, if we are a good match, we will continue the full consultation where we will review a plan in multiple hours. We will evaluate your asset and finances, and we want to pay attention to you. We'll discuss with you and your spouse, or let's say you're a single buyer, we will also go through this with you. And eventually we will identify the right property, like what we have done for our clients, easily making a 250,000, 500,000 in stages. Okay, it's not a get rich quick scheme, but if we do it starting off with 1 million, we can able to grow it to 1.3, 1.3 to 1.6, 1.6 to 2 million. We want to do it step by step. Okay, that's a very important thing. And when you're going through this personalized consult, you also have access to my entire back end support teams and a regular review of your current plans and your family. All right, so as I mentioned, time is needed on our end to do so much. That's why we have limited time span. So only for the first 7 new families that you come on board, you fill out the questions, we will be able to guide you on how to start your property journey step by step. And most importantly, everything is free. Okay, we are not charging a single cent. Why? Because I know many of you are here to learn and you have been trying to find somebody who can guide you for property. Okay, and I assure you, by going through this entire exercise, you'll be so clear in your property journey. You know what exactly you want to do, like many of our clients who have done it before. And that's the reason when we are doing this free, we cannot accept everybody. Okay, you will only be selected if you have followed through all the different stages. You have provided enough information for me. We are going on a call to see where a good match. That's why we only want to limit 7 new families every single week. Okay, everything is free for you. Everything. Okay. So what you need to do is the link is already inside the chat, or you can actually scan the QR code. You pop up a questionnaire. There will be a very few questions that you want to fill up and provide as much information for me as possible. Because throughout this entire process, we will also run through with you a risk analysis systems, a management system that we have created to help you go through the details, the financial numbers. We will have suggested plans, whether you should buy this property alone, should you buy it together with your spouse, should you buy one now, and then maybe 3 years, 4 years down the road, buy another one. So these are all the different plans that we will come up to suggest and discuss together. This is part of our risk analysis management system. And we will even calculate based on all the financial calculations, how much your monthly cash flow, how much CPF are you using, even to the extent of reserve funds. So very, very important. That's why our risk analysis management system is also something that you will also get back, during this consultation. Very, very important. But I want to warn every one of you also, okay? To be honest, if you try whatever I shared with you today, right? Chances are you're going to lose money, right? I want to be very direct up front. Okay, it will never be possible for anyone because of their work and family and still really study properly well enough to make a better decision. Okay, this one I want to be very truthful. And if you want to do this alone, chances are you're going to lose money because you might pick the wrong property. Okay, you might not even know what kind of pricing you should be buying. You could be overpaying without you even realizing. And even after you buy, how do you know when you should exit to capitalize on your gain, to do it over again? Like what our clients do, because they have somebody to guide them. They have somebody to go back to them and tell them, Mr. So-and-so, hey, your property has already appreciated this X amount. I think there's more opportunities right now in the marketplace. You should do something. And then you decide whether do you want to do it or not. Will this actually help you in the property journey? Very, very crucial. Like for May, when she came on board, she was like, okay, I need to buy my first property, but very, very worried how to do it. You see, it can be very daunting, very overwhelming, especially for a first-time inexperienced property buyer. So even if today you're a first-timer, doesn't matter, because we're going to guide you step by step. We're going to show you and break it down systematically to explain in a very relatable and easy to grasp. That means after you go through this session, your knowledge for property, instead of you reading books and seeing online, right, you will be so much better. You see, so you need to get all these resources, get this knowledge up to mark as quick as possible. If not, the market will have moved without you. And you again lose the opportunity because you waited. So anyone who took action right now and thinking what's next and take the action, I tell you, you have a choice right now to make a decision for your own property journey to make it better and better. Because we understand your needs and then we educate you from A to Z in terms of building wealth through property. That is very important. So my role is to help you all save money at the same time. How can you in this market save the money and make the most money? Very, very crucial. So now you have 2 choices, my friends. You are here learning, great. But if tomorrow you wake up and then you just say, oh, I learned something from Edmunds, so good. But nothing happens, nothing changes. Everything still stays the same. Or perhaps you want to just click on the link and then see where does this go. Perhaps there's an opportunity for you that you didn't even realize that you can. You know how many families that we have worked with, right? That they didn't even know that they can own 2 properties. All of them are so worried that, oh, the finances are so high, my money mortgage is so high. And many of them, after going through, they realize it's so safe for them to actually own 2 properties. And could you be actually losing out this opportunity without you realizing? Why not just click on the link, find out what this is about, and perhaps this can potentially change your life forever. Forever, my friends. Let me recap what you'll be getting in this personalized consult. Besides our community group, all right, you will have a click on the link and you have a set of questions that you want to answer. Do provide me as much information as possible because I want to know what is happening in your property situation so that I can help you plan better. And once you are being selected, you'll be going on a property strategy call with me. And only if over the call we find that, hey, we can really help you, we are a good match, you know, you really need someone to guide you, then we will go on the full-fledged session of consultation to review your plan, to evaluate your finances and asset, as well as to identify the right property to purchase so that you can continue to grow your 6 figures in the next 3 to 5 years safely and confidently. And not only that, we will regularly review your property situation, your finances, your family situation to see whether do we need to make adjustment in your property or not. Okay, so this is very, very crucial. You want to, okay, I stress again, everybody should review a property every 3 or 4 years. You must, so that you know what is going on and you know that if today you want to capitalize on it, you can do it better. All right, just like how Rachel and Edwin, they all did, you know, in $500,000 in just 4 years. So wouldn't you want to be just like that? From getting the unknown about property to be so worried, wondering what is happening, until when they go through the entire REI method sessions and they get more clarity, they got more confident, and they know that today I want to do this. We have so many different examples of families who have done it, while other people just sit back and link and just sit there and don't do anything. Today, you have an opportunity for me, my team, to guide you step by step. So this is your last chance to scan the link, or you can actually click on the link to fill out the information. All right. So later on, I will also take about 5 minutes to answer any of your questions regarding property. So you all can stay tuned throughout later on, and I can actually share with you a little bit more about properties. So this is your last chance to scan the QR code, or the link is already inside the chat that you can actually use it and to ask to maybe fill out all the information so that I can have a better understanding what is happening. Okay. So for those who are still here, as I promised you, you stay throughout all the way to the end. I want you to type in, I want you to scan this QR code and type in the word bonus so that I can send you the list of profitable properties that we have researched on that can perhaps give you a better understanding of those properties. So scan the QR code, and I'm going to just put up here for the next 30 seconds. So you scan the QR code, type in the word bonus immediately. Okay, type in the word bonus so that I know that I need to send this bonus to you. All right. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. Okay, great. All right, so for those who are still on the fence, like I mentioned, this is completely free. We are here to really want to get you on board the right property journey without you realizing, you know, whether are you doing it right or wrong. We want you to enter the market confidently. So this is your last chance to scan the QR code, and then you can take your time to fill out the information. The first 7 applicants who submitted, we will go through your information very closely. And if you are being selected, then we will get on a strategy call with me personally to see how we can do this further, how we can work together in this property consultation. All right. So next, I will take some time to actually answer some Q&A. All right. So if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A button at the bottom to put in your questions, and I will be going through every single questions to see how I can help you to get better understanding. Perhaps you have questions about the session that I run through, about the cooling measures, or perhaps about the consultations that we are putting out for you, and you want to actually ask more questions, feel free to use the Q&A button to do that.